Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Kasturi from Unilever Food Solutions, which is one of the leading food service providers globally. Our presenter today is a culinary chef experience advisor of Unilever Food Solutions, KZN, Chef Danielle. Today she will be introducing the Braissant. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box. Chef will answer them after the presentation. Now, without any further ado, we turn our time over to Chef Danielle.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're all back. And we're going to do a very awesome, another bakery trend of 2022. Last time I did the croquet, which is a mashup between an eclair and a croissant. And this time I'm doing a Braissant, which is a mashup between a bagel and a croissant. So a lot of people know it as the croquet. And I've just decided I'm going to treat you guys to show you how to make the pastry. And then I'll do two different fillings, the savory and a sweet one, with two of our Unilever Food Solution products. So I will start off with the pastry. Okay, so I'll start off with the flour. So in the handout section, you will find a recipe that you can download. So I'll start off with the flour, and that's 500 grams of normal cake flour. Then I've got 60 grams of milk powder. And I've got 15 grams of sugar. And I've got about a teaspoon of salt. And then a whole packet or 10 grams of instant yeast. And that I will just add into the machine. And the attachment I'm going to use today is the normal dough hook. And you'll just do it on a low speed, just so that the flour and the sugar and the salt and the yeast is all mixed and incorporated. So not too long. So I've actually made these about 2 weeks ago. And I think our executive chef absolutely loves them. So he said this is his favorite. So he can't wait for the end of the webinar. So he's got lots of tasters. After that, it's nicely mixed. I'm going to add some vanilla paste. The reason I'm using vanilla paste and not essence is because I really prefer to see the seeds of the vanilla bean. And I think the flavor is a little bit more potent. And then slowly into that, I'm going to add ice cold water. You can see the condensation on the glass jar. Just slowly to incorporate. I don't want to add it in too fast. And I'll keep it on the same speed, and you'll see that it will all just come together. So I've got a lovely assistant helping me today. Her name is Gugu. And I've had to pre-prepare a couple of the steps. Because normally it takes about, so everything from the dough for your first rise, your first fold. So I'm going to show you how to laminate the pastry. So I've had to pre-do quite a lot of it. And Gugu is going to help me to fetch it out of the fridge. So I'll just speed this okie up a little bit. If you feel like it needs a little bit more water, just add a little drop. Don't add too much. You always think that you need to add more, and then you add too much. So we basically just want the dough to come together, and you will knead it until it is nice and smooth. So you'll be able to see from the top view how the dough is actually pulling away from the bowl, and it is actually jumping off the table a bit. So I just want to keep it sturdy. And I just want to knead for a little bit until it is nice and smooth. Once I've done this process, Gugu will then give me my first rest. So I'll cling wrap this and I will rest it in the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes, just for the yeast to activate a little bit. Okay. So I'll just remove this, and then I can show you what the dough looks like. So it's all come together. It's a nice and smooth dough. Okay. And then I will just move this machine off quickly. Just for me to have some space. So this has been resting in the fridge for 15 minutes. And I will take off the cling wrap. And then I will show you how to do your first fold with the butter. So you'll see that the yeast is nicely activated into the pastry. It's not sticky at all. You can see the air bubbles in the pastry. So I'll just plop that over there, and I will show you how to do the butter. So all I've got is 2 pieces of wax paper, and I've got 250 grams of butter that I will add onto the wax paper. And this is going to be for your lamination. I'll add the other piece on there and just press it down slightly. So the butter is room temperature. Just makes it easier to work with. And I will use a rolling pin just to roll it out. So it is a slight process of doing it, but it's trust me, it's absolutely worth it at the end. I'll show you a little trick what I do to make sure that your pastry is actually, your butter is exactly a square. So what I've done is I've just taken off the sides and I've added that back on. And this I'll cut off here. I'll add that in. And then I will add the wax paper on top again, roll it out, and you get the gist of it. And then my lovely assistant will give me the one that I've already completed. Okay. There you go. go. So you'll add this back on. And you'll just roll it out. Just to keep the shape of the rectangle. This will then go into your fridge for another 15 to 20 minutes, just until it sets hard, so you can use it much easier. So I've got one that I've pre-prepared. There you go, and it is nice and hard. So what I'll do is I'll start rolling. Just get rid of some of the stuff here. So I've got some space. I'll just add some flour onto the surface. See the nice air bubbles. And I will add some flour on top. Not a lot, just so to make sure that my rolling pin doesn't stick. I will roll this out. Let's get a nice rectangular shape. So basically your pastry needs to be three times the length of your butter. And your butter needs to fit in there. So as I said, it's a little bit of a process, but absolutely worth it at the end. So I'll just make sure it's everywhere. Okay. What I'll do then is I will just peel the wax paper off. And I will add it right in the middle of the pastry. Then to do my first fold, I'll add the pastry over the butter. And then exactly the other side. Okay, just add a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick. And I want to shape it nicely. And feel the butter is nice and stiff in there. Make sure your surface is nicely floured. Just going to flatten the pastry a bit. Do the first fold, and then it goes back into the fridge, ready for your second fold. There you go. So what I'll do, I will cling wrap this, and then I've already done one that I folded twice, and that will go into the fridge. There's my pastry that I have folded twice already. So it's basically doing the same procedure as folding 1/3 over the other third into the middle, and then rest for 15 minutes, and then you'll do exactly the same thing another time. So this is your last one. I've done it twice, as I said. It's a little bit of flour. Make sure it doesn't stick. And I'm just going to roll this out. And then I will start cutting them into strips. Just want to make sure this doesn't stick to my counter. You can see the nice crackle. I hope you can. You can see the crackle of the cold butter that's inside your pastry. And you want the pastry to be about 20 centimeters long, and we're going to do about a 2 centimeter thick strip. It's perfect length. And it's going to be a nice thick, so about 1 centimeter thick. So I just want to make sure it's all even. Just going to take a small knife, cut this little piece off, and then you're going to do 2 centimeter strips. So I don't know if you can see the layers of the pastry inside there. So I'll just do a couple of strips. And then we're going to twist and bring them together. Let's see, that was cute. So the easiest way to do this, let me do it one in the middle, is to take the two parts, your left hand towards you, your right hand away from you, twist your pastry, bring the two ends together, and just pinch them. Perfect. So we'll do that with all of them. And then I've got a baking tray. Just going to spray it with some spray and cook. And then I'm going to add them all onto there, and they're going to rest and rise for an hour. So I want to speed up the process for all of you. So I'll just do this quickly. Add them on there. As quick as possible. Probably will need another baking tray, Googs, if you can help me with that. And just spray it with some spray and cook for me, please. Thank you, Gugu. You can see the beautiful crackle of butter in these. Take this one for me. This one. Okay, I'll add them all on here. So they are going to rest and rise for about an hour. I was supposed to get 12 out, so one piece was a little bit too thick. So all I'll do now is just let them rest for an hour. I'll skip a step, but that's not going to work. So these have rested for an hour. I'm going to add on. Okay, so the next step, why this is called a Braissant, is because you do the process of the laminating of the croissant pastry, and then you do the process of the boiling of the bagel process. Okay, so there's these pastries. They've rested. What I've got on the stove here is just some plain water. I'm going to bring that up to the boil. I'm going to add them into the boiling water, and then for literally 10 seconds, I don't want all the butter to melt away. So into the water, onto the baking tray, and then I'm going to brush them with a little bit with egg. Top half of them with sesame, half of them with sugar, and into the oven they go for about 10 minutes. So we'll just wait for that to heat up. I'll just grab my spider. I'm going to put it in the fridge. Just going to clean up as I go. Okay, so the water is almost done. Okay, there's another tray there. I'll spray that one with spraying cooks along, so that when they come out of the water, they go onto the tray and into the oven. So you'll see they've risen nicely, they've gotten a nice shape, and you can actually still see the little flakes of the butter inside the pastry. Let's take the most wonkiest one and add that one in. So the water is not hot enough yet. That was literally it. That's how quickly they go into the boiling water. What basically happens is the layers that you've created with the laminating has now just opened up and flaked your layers. Let's add another one in. So at the end of it, that means that you've just got this beautiful opened up flaked Braissant. Of course, you will have some of the butter that has melted, but that's totally okay. So I think to speed up the process, I'll just do these. Actually see the beautiful bits of butter. They are gorgeous. What I'm going to ask Gugu to do for me so long is please take my egg and break it, and just the egg, and just break it and mix it for me, please, in a bowl. In a bowl behind you in the cupboard. Okay, they are gorgeous. It's going to be quick. I'll brush them with a little bit of egg, and in the oven they will go. So you can, if you want to just, because I'm doing two different ones and I'm doing savory and sweet, can you mix the egg for me, please? Doing savory and sweet, I didn't add too much sugar into the pastry with a fork. I didn't add too much sugar to the pastry, but if you want to, you can add more sugar to the pastry and you'll have the sweet, more sweet flavor. Okay, that's it. The last one done. Switch this fork quickly. I've just got some mixed egg. I'll just have to be a little bit gentle to them. Let's add the egg onto here. Make sure you do the sides as well, otherwise you have this distinct line of exactly where you added your egg. If you want to go egg-free, you're more than welcome to use a little bit of milk for your wash instead of the egg. But unfortunately, you won't be able to go totally dairy-free because it's got so much butter in it. There you go. And as I said, I'm doing half sesame, half sugar. So just sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds over. And the other half I'm doing with some sugar. And they'll go into the oven for 10 minutes. So I have some pre-prepared already. Perfect. You bring me the fillings. So as I said, I'm doing one savory and one sweet. So here's the ones that I've pre-prepared. And you will see that if I take one and I break it open, you'll see the beautiful layers and the rise of the pastry inside them. So let's do one savory, one sweet. This is the savory, this is the sweet one. Make sure that's hot. So for the savory one, I've decided to do one with rocket. I'm doing a basil pesto chicken mayo with a Hellmann's tangy. I'll show you what the Hellmann's tangy bucket looks like. It's a beautiful vegan mayonnaise. It's made with pea protein, and it is the best in binding. So meaning that you can keep it up in your bain-maries, and it's bain-marie stable as well. So we'll add in some rocket. Sorry, that's the sweet one. I'm going to go nice and big with the rocket. I love the flavor of rocket. It's a nice peppery flavor. And then I will add in some of the basil pesto chicken mayo. To there. And then I've got some crispy bacon that I'll just break off, and I'll add some crispy bacon on there. And something that I adore is roasted red peppers. So I've just roasted these off. I'm going to add some in there. I've kept them in a little bit of their juices. So they add a beautiful pop of color. Don't want to add too much so they're not overpowering. And the top goes on. And that is, doesn't that look good? That is phenomenal. Cust, you want to zoom in on that over there? So I'm going to add this onto a black plate just for a little pop of color. Okay, then over to the sweet one. The sweet one I'm doing with our carte or creme brulee. And I've pre-made this and let it sit. And I've then added into a piping bag. And it's a beautiful product. It's my favorite dessert product. It is so close to scratch, and it's so easy to make. You really don't have to do the whole bain-marie baking in the oven when it comes to our creme brulee. It's all stovetop. So what I'll have for that one is I've added it into a piping bag. And I've got our carte or chocolate sauce and our almonds. And I've got some almonds. So at the bottom of this, beautiful for piping. You can see that it's adorable. I'm going to add some strawberries on there, maybe some blueberries. I'll just do thin slices of strawberries. I'll do like a beautiful fan. Isn't that just gorgeous? Maybe I won't add the blueberries. Maybe I will. All depends on you. So I'll add a blueberry here and there. And then, that's not a very nice blueberry. There you go. Then I'm going to drizzle it with our Parker or chocolate sauce. And I'm going to add some of the toasted almonds on top. So I've got a beautiful plate for this. Add that onto the plate. Add the top on. I'm going to add a little bit more chocolate sauce just for some garnish. And then the toasted almond on top. And isn't that an Instagram-worthy dessert? Beautiful. So I would think that in a coffee shop, restaurant environment, you can charge, these are small, so you can make them much bigger. I made small ones and big ones. But you can charge anything for a bigger one up to the savory ones, maybe up to 100 Rand a portion. If you serve it with a nice side salad, the desserts, I would say easily 75 Rand for a dessert portion. Yeah, that's the Braissant. So you'll have to check up on me again to see what the next bakery trend is for 2022, and I'll let you know. Cass, is there any questions?
Yes, Chef. So we have 4 questions.
Okay, cool.
First question is, would you serve the savory one with any sides or just plate it just like that?
I would serve it, it's all up to you. I wouldn't serve it with a starch. I would serve it with a beautiful side salad because you've already got your protein in there, and it will just make the plate pop if you've got a beautiful side salad with some fresh herbs and fresh produce in there.
Can the dough be frozen?
Wait, let me think about this. So I will think which step you'll have to freeze. You can freeze, I would say, the last step. So just before, so after your second fold in the fridge, you can freeze that dough and you'll have to defrost it properly. And then once you've defrosted it, when you cut your strips, fold them or roll them, and then let them rise before you pop them in the oven.
Okay, thank you, Chef. Will the video be available after the classes?
Yes, so if you've registered for the webinar, it will be sent to your email address. So you're more than welcome to watch the webinar afterwards.
If you use vanilla essence, do you need to use an extra amount?
Say that again?
If you use vanilla essence, do you need to use an extra amount?
I would say definitely yes. I think a vanilla paste is much stronger than vanilla essence. So I would go about 1.5 times vanilla essence to the recipe. The recipe said 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla paste. So I would add a full teaspoon of vanilla essence into it. But just remember, it is a super premium product because it's got so much butter, real butter in it. You're filling it with beautiful, amazing ingredients. So please don't skimp on something as important as vanilla. So I did say you can use vanilla essence, diastrates, but please try use vanilla, vanilla paste. While I've got you there, I'll show you what they look like once they come out of the oven. And I'll crack one open. Let's look at that. So they are beautiful. Absolutely adore them. So what I can do is it's going to be hot, but I'll break this one open. See? So you can actually see the layers. Oh, I'm actually going to hold it in a cloth. It's so hot. So you can actually see the layers when you break it up in there. Awesome.
Chef, we have another question.
Yes.
Is corn flour or starch a good replacement for regular flour in terms of taste and profit retakes?
Corn flour or?
Starch.
No, you can definitely not replace it. Corn flour has got a totally different texture, as well as it won't do anything that the normal flour does. And the reason I say that is because also the rising agent in this is a yeast. And with your corn flour, yeah, it won't work. You can try it with bread flour if you would like to. They will just be much more of a bagel texture than of a croissant texture.
I have another question. How long would you leave them in colder weather? Or will 1 hour suffice?
No, definitely not. So in the winter months, I would say leave them until they've doubled in size, or 3/4 in size. So or what I've done is, I don't know if you saw behind me on my oven, I've added 2 of the Bain Maries, and I've actually risen them because it's pretty chilly in the building. So I've risen them on there. It took an hour, but I had to add them on there to add a little bit of yeast for them to heat, to rise a little bit quicker.
Okay. And last but not least, would you be able to make them before boiling and then freeze them?
I'm sure you would be able to, because your last rise happens in the oven, so with the heat. So I think you can do that. You can freeze them after you've shaped them, and then let them thaw properly, and then boil them and into the oven.
Awesome. Thank you, Chef.
No other questions?
No other questions. Do you just want to chat to them about your Instagram?
Awesome. So you can follow me on Instagram as well as on TikTok at Chef Danielle _SA. Sorry, it's a little bit of a tongue twister. And I post some exciting stuff on there. We had a nice our launch of our new nutrition division, and I did a weird little cookie dance on there. So yeah, follow me, and I'll follow you back. And I'm always available to chat to whenever you need to. You can pop me an email or pop me a message on Instagram. You can also watch on, there's an amazing program or an app that you can download on your phone called UFS Academy, that you can find all these amazing videos onto there. And after every video, it asks you a little quiz, and you can download a certificate afterwards. There's also ufs.com that you can go onto. It's our website, and there's amazing recipes on there, and a lot of information for everybody in the hospitality industry. And all the upcoming webinars are on there as well. Awesome, Cass. Is that it?
That's it, Chef.
Thank you very much to everybody that joined, and follow me on Instagram and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you soon.